What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we're going to be doing a continuation of our hero build guide and go into one of my favorite heroes in the game right now, Doom Terminator Vulcan. Now, is this a hero that most people should build? Probably not. If you're an early game account, you should still be focusing on like Vesa, Sword Flash, Jara, those type heroes. If you're on a later game pushing account, you're probably better off focusing on a hero like Star Swordsman Mockman, but I know a lot of you guys out there are like me that absolutely love the hero design, the way the abilities work, and all that stuff. So if you are looking a way to build him, let's go over how our Doom Terminator Vulcan is built and hopefully gives you guys a little bit of insight. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. So yes, let's talk about the most recent and newest Transcendence hero to the game, Doom Terminator Vulcan. Now this hero here can do some explosive round 1, round 2 damage. A lot of times people will compare him to like an equal to Mockman, especially for the Void campaign, because you need that huge round 1 burst or very high damage in the first round. The difference is I feel like Doom Terminator Vulcan really builds up more too. So whereas you had Star Swordsman Mockman, most of his damage has to come from the first round, Doom Terminator Vulcan has some survivability and some stacking damage abilities that let him go into round 3 and 4, still survive, and also dish out a ton of damage. Now, of course, his main ability right here is active, is his bread and butter. It does so much damage at so many different layers of attacks. You guys see how many times he hits is more than even Mockman. So basically, his active skill deals damage to one enemy, not a big deal, but then consumes all his charge energy layers. Now, we're going to talk about that first, how to get them. Fearless Arsenal. Passive skill, he gains layers at any time, and his concentration rate, which is like his lowest one, caps at 6 total of them. When an ally releases or takes damage dealt by basic attacks, there's a 50% chance to obtain 1 layer. Now, it's not guaranteed, like I said, so there is some RNG involved, and of course, this is another reason why I always say he's not a great solo hero, but he's an amazing team hero. Magic Explosion, whenever an ally or enemy releases an active skill, there's a 50% chance to get 1 of those layers. And then Freezing Pierce, whenever an ally or enemy dies, there's a 100% chance to obtain a layer. Also, whenever these hit the cap of those numbers, increase your self attack 15% for 2 rounds, removes 2 debuffs from self, and gains immunity to fear. That is actually pretty strong. Now, we'll talk about his sublimations later because those really start adding up. Impeccable Insight also, you know, that's pretty much the survivability thing. Once he goes far enough in the battle and getting analysis stacks just from, you know, whenever enemies release active skills, he's going to be able to have that Drake effect that we've talked about. But when you do have all these rays, explosions, pierces build up, you can use them on your basic attack, or more than likely, you're going to use them on his active skill here. This one deals 300% attack damage to 2 random enemies 2 to 4 times. So again, there's more RNG, and that's for each layer. And as you guys remember, you can technically get up to 6 layers of that. So you can hit almost up to 24 times with this 2 random enemies, which is huge. Magic Explosion. Each layer deals 500% attack damage to 2 enemies with the lowest HP. Crit is guaranteed. That's the biggest part. Still feels like he bugs out sometimes, and his crit is almost guaranteed on all of them, but hey, is what it is. Meanwhile, deals extra damage equal to 10% of the target's lost HP, capping at a percentage of his. And lastly, Freezing Pierce. When an enemy or an ally dies, each layer deals 1200% attack damage to all enemies and reduces their speed by 20 for 2 rounds. Afterward, there's a 40% chance to inflict Freeze Cold Chill, which is a different freeze effect than the one that Jara has, so it can kind of stack. And then if you also have Annihilation Pursuit status, deals extra damage, a lot of it, divided by the number of surviving enemies. Really, really cool. I like it. So that is awesome. Yeah, just absolutely crazy. Now, when you do sublime him, I would go for the first one and the last one as the main 2 priorities. So the first tree branch here, we'll actually go to it in here. This one increases all damage dealt by 12% on his active, which is huge. Concentration rate additionally reduces the target's attack, so it helps survivability on your team. And finally, the last one, the Noble Sublimation, releases the skill effect Freezing Pierce an additional time, just guaranteed, which is really, really awesome. More damage, more chances for CC. Now, the last one's good because it gives some base stats down here, but deep sublimation is huge. Charge energy obtained via Fearless Arsenal. Each layer of concentration ray, the first one, increases self crit by 5, so that can get up to 30% crit chance for 2 rounds. Each layer of magic explosion, which can go up to 4, can give you 10% crit damage up to 40%. And then lastly, each layer of Freezing Pierce increases self all damage dealt by 5%. That gets really, really big. And lastly, Noble Sublimation. Whenever you cap any one of those charge energies, you instantly get 50 energy. So that's why sometimes you'll see him attacking or just being hit, and all of a sudden, boom, he's got full energy again. It's because of this right here. His basic, of course, you can get like a little bit more because you can reduce energy from frontline targets, which is kind of cool. It's interesting. He also has energy recovery. Whenever self releases basic attack, there's two 50% chances to obtain 1 layer of concentration ray and 1 layer of magic explosion, which is cool because that gives him a chance to maybe even get some more energy. Lastly, this one over here, not exactly something I care about as much because it takes a while to get there. In a lot of game modes, you're already going to be either dead or have a victory, but you get more analysis layers, you get more crit damage, all that fun stuff. So really, really cool. Typically, what I run on this hero is not actually crit chance. I try to keep him around, well, actually, sorry, not crit damage. I try to keep him around 50% crit chance if you have the sublimations, because you're going to have a lot of extra crit chance coming from here. Plus, some of the active ability has a guaranteed crit anyway. This hero really thrives with precision and skill damage. Skill damage because you hit so many times. Normally, the stone that I love running the most is actually skill damage and precision. The skill damage holy one that we have too is good as well, but the skill damage something else is what you want to go for. And then in the majority game modes, you're going to be running a melodic string, just trying to get as much damage out as fast as possible. He's a very interesting hero where running balanced strike instead of unbending will can work in a lot of scenarios. I think if you want to focus on clearing Sealand 20 in the light faction, going for an Antlers Cane is probably one of your best bets. Now, the other thing I want to talk about are these nodes here. Like I said, a lot of times if you're talking about Void Campaign, Tower, where you're just going for that huge round 1 burst on him, you're not going to want to run damage reduction and stuff like that. You're going to want to run like crit, holy damage, and precision or skill damage. Those are all very, very big stats to run. You can see how much skill damage you actually get there. If I had to say my normal way of running this hero is right here: precision, crit chance, and skill damage. The skill damage, especially combined with this one, increases by 350%, especially, oh man, I mean, when you slap this guy on right here, whew, getting a lot of extra skill damage, affecting all of those parts of his active skill that he has. Very, very strong. Now, the one thing I will say is his core isn't necessary, but it does have a really cool effect if you have another ally like we do with our Star Swordsman Mockman that has a lot of damage potential. Because essentially what it does is every time he, like at the end of each round, grants 1 layer of secondary concentration ray to 3 allies with the highest attack. You're basically giving this to allies with the highest attack to let them do additional points of damage, get some more all damage reduction, dot damage reduction. It's really cool, but if you have just him as your main hero, his core is not going to do that much for you. The one part I do like, though, is giving another ally a chance to get more freeze effects out. So it's a very offensive, defensive, and crowd control oriented artifact or core. It kind of just does everything, and he's absolutely amazing in a ton of game modes. You guys have seen it. We did a Sealand 30 clear pretty easily without Giant Killer, and you got to remember, everything we've done on this account has just been with this B plus attack. Really weird item here. It's not even like re-rolled properly or anything. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think about the hero. I'm in love with him, but he's not really for everybody and everybody's account. So hopefully that helps you guys out. See you guys next time.